It was a Saturday evening, and I was at a cabin near Asheville with a few college friends, enjoying drinks and laughter, something I hadn't done in ages. Rachel and I had built our events business together over the last decade, and it rarely left me time to relax. Our company had grown into a respected name, managing everything from weddings to major corporate events. So when my phone buzzed and her name lit up the screen, I stepped outside, thinking it was urgent. Her voice was strangely casual. "I'm divorcing you," she said, as if commenting on the weather. I didn't answer at first. I just stared into the trees, wondering if she was serious. Then came the second blow. I've sold the company. Everything. To some investors in Miami. My new partner and I, his name's Adam, we're starting fresh. Without you. It's better this way. She giggled lightly, like it was some joke I hadn't caught on to. I paused, took a breath, and replied as evenly as I could. Good for you. She must have expected me to yell, beg, or threaten her. Instead, I stayed calm. Her laugh returned, sharper this time. You were always too cold, Matthew. That's why I'm leaving. Adam makes me feel alive. Then she hung up. I stood alone in the crisp evening air, pocketed my phone, and went back inside as if nothing had happened. But deep down, I knew everything had just shifted. She believed she had outsmarted me. What she didn't know was that I had been quietly preparing for this moment for the past 8 months. 2 days later, I pulled into the driveway. Rachel stood near the garage, arms folded, wearing designer sunglasses and a confident smirk, like she had won some grand battle. Her heels clicked on the stone path with arrogant rhythm. She thought I'd come crawling, desperate to recover what she'd taken. But when I stepped out of the car, I didn't have bags or desperation. I had a clipboard, a thick folder, and a sealed envelope. Her smile flickered. "What's all that?" she asked, visibly confused. I didn't answer. I opened the front door and gestured for her to come in. She hesitated, then followed. Once inside, I handed her the clipboard. "That's the deed to this house," I said. "I moved it into my name alone 8 months ago. You signed off on it back in January. Remember those tax restructuring papers you didn't read?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out. I gave her the envelope next. "Those are the wire transfers from the business sale. You know, the ones you approved." Her expression twisted. "You saw those?" "I arranged them," I said. She stumbled back slightly, as if the floor had shifted beneath her. "The investors? Miami. They're friends of mine. Contacts from my corporate network. You never bothered to learn who our silent partners were. You thought you were selling the company out from under me. In reality, you sold it back to me." Her lips parted again, but no words came out. Her hands began to tremble. "I still own the business," I said quietly. "And you? You have nothing." She forced a laugh. "This is a bluff." I handed her one last folder. Our prenuptial agreement. It had a clause stating that if either party committed infidelity or deliberately harmed joint assets, they forfeited their share. "You gave your confession on the call," I said. "I recorded it." The victorious expression she'd been wearing disappeared completely. Her confidence collapsed into stunned silence. "You can't do this," she whispered. "You might want to check in with Adam," I added as I turned toward the kitchen. "You wouldn't," she stammered. "Tell him." I glanced back with a faint smile. "Already did. And he's going to be even more furious than you." She stood frozen as I walked away. I poured myself a glass of water, pulled out my phone, and tapped a number. She followed, trying to stay composed. "You're bluffing," she repeated. "Adam wouldn't." I held up a hand and hit speaker. The phone rang. Once. Twice. Then his voice. "Yeah, Adam here," he answered. "Just giving you a heads up," I said. "I canceled your consulting deal, cut off your access to our company cards, and notified your firm about the misuse of funds. Legal will follow up." There was a pause. "What are you talking about? You didn't think I'd let you and Rachel bleed the company dry, did you?" "Wait, what?" "Rachel told me she owned the company," Adam snapped. "And she told me she was just heading to Miami for meetings," I said. Adam's voice rose. "She used my name to transfer money. My firm will destroy me. I could lose my license." Rachel turned pale. "You said you handled it," she whispered. I thought you were the CEO, Adam said, nearly shouting. You told me your husband was just a clueless handyman. I let the silence hang. One more thing, Adam, I added. I copied the IRS on that forensic audit last week. Just making sure all the paperwork's clean. I ended the call. Rachel let the phone fall from her hand like it burned her. You don't understand, she said, voice trembling. I gave up everything for this. I stepped toward her, voice low. No. You didn't give anything. You took. Until there was nothing left to take. She collapsed into a chair, hands shaking, makeup streaking down her face. Please, she whispered. We can fix this. But there was nothing left to fix. I'm not fixing anything, I said. You're out of the house, out of the company, and soon out of options. She looked stunned, but I added, you do still have something. Her eyes flickered with hope. A court summons. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I'm pressing charges for fraud, embezzlement, and breach of contract. The courtroom was full the day of the hearing. Rachel walked in wearing a washed-out gray suit, a pale shadow of the polished woman she used to be. No friends beside her. No family and support. Just a few journalists taking quiet notes. I sat calmly at the plaintiff's table, my attorney at my side. We had everything ready. The judge skimmed through a thick folder of evidence. This case is extensive, he said. Forgery, embezzlement, unauthorized transfers, and an illegal sale of a company. He looked over his glasses. Ms. Rachel Thompson, how do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor, her lawyer answered. But even he didn't sound convinced. The audit had spoken louder than anything he could. Evidence rolled in. Projected on a screen were emails between Rachel and Adam, filled with language about reallocating assets creatively, and how I'd never find out. Then came the audio. I had enabled our home security mics months ago, originally just to feel secure. Ironically, they captured everything. Sell it under his name. He signs anything. We'll drain the accounts and vanish. Rachel's face drained of color. She turned rigid as her attorney leaned in, whispering urgently. But she wasn't hearing him anymore. Her eyes stayed locked on the screen showing her digital signature, confirming she transferred $400,000 from our company account to an offshore fund. And then came the final blow. Exhibit 19, Your Honor, my lawyer said, handing the judge a document. It was the company's legal ownership record, establishing that I had full ownership and Rachel had none. You tried to sell a business that you never legally owned, the judge said sharply. The courtroom fell quiet. Then Rachel broke. He wasn't supposed to fight back, she yelled. He never did before. I thought he wouldn't. The bailiff stepped forward, but Rachel was already unraveling, crying and shaking. This isn't fair, she said under her breath. It wasn't supposed to go like this. The judge banged his gavel. Enough. Mr. Daniels, due to the nature of the damages and clear emotional toll, you may seek punitive damages. I'm also placing a freeze on the defendant's assets pending full investigation. Rachel turned toward me, eyes red and full of panic. But I didn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction. I trusted her. I told the judge. She turned love into a transaction. So now I'm handling it like one. 3 months later, the dust had mostly settled. Rachel was out on bail, but everything else was gone. Her funds, her polished image, her relationship. Adam had disappeared the moment the press published the trial reports. His company dropped him, and his family, wealthy and proud, cut ties without hesitation. Rachel tried to reach out once. Just one message. A short email late at night. I know I messed up. I'm sorry. I have nowhere to go. I didn't reply. Not out of hate, but because I didn't know her anything anymore. My company, mine from the beginning, rebounded fast. Media attention helped. Investors who respected resilience came forward. We rebranded, modernized, and signed a new deal that pushed revenue past 7 figures in just a few months. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was coming home to a quiet apartment overlooking the city, where the silence no longer hurt. It was peace. Real, earned peace. Sometimes freedom doesn't come with a celebration. Sometimes it's just finally being able to breathe again. I'd heard rumors since. Rachel bouncing from couch to couch, burning bridges she didn't think she'd ever need. The people who once enabled her had vanished. Her charm didn't work when her accounts were empty. A friend of hers even called me, unsure. She's telling people you set her up. I just said, let her. The truth is documented. And karma? Karma remembers everything. Months later, I checked an old email account and found one final message from her. I was wrong. I thought I was choosing excitement. I didn't realize I was throwing away the only man who truly cared. You didn't deserve that. She was right. I didn't. But some mistakes cost more than apologies can cover. Hers came with interest. As for me, I moved forward. Smarter, wealthier, and free. What would you have done? If this story hits close to home, pass it on. Someone else might need this reminder. Lies eventually surface. And betrayal always comes with a receipt.